With those changes, Garrett Sitz made a motion to adopt the proposed local law. David Grant seconded the motion, and all agreed. The standard working day resolution was reviewed. Don Smith made a motion to accept the resolution as presented. Garrett Sitz seconded the motion, and all agreed. Jan Mulroy presented a petition regarding enacting a road use ordinance, an industrial noise ordinance, enacting a resolution of unconditional opposition to a compressor station being located in the town of Franklin, maintaining and enforcing existing rural zoning laws, and also enforcing existing agricultural district laws. Felix Bradell presented a petition in favor of the town board passing a resolution of unconditional opposition to the construction of a compressor station within the town of Franklin. Concerns were expressed regarding possible changes in the water supply, water contamination, and air contamination due to pipeline construction and compressor station operations. Mark Lang opened the bids for a 2015 or newer 14-foot all-purpose stainless steel dump box. M&C truck equipment from Vestal bid $45,105 for an airflow box. Tracy Equipment from Syracuse bid $45,691 for an airflow box. Henderson Truck Equipment bid $40,175. Mark indicated that he previously had problems with Henderson Truck Equipment making timely delivery. Garrett Sitz made a motion to accept the bid of $45,105 from M&C Truck Equipment. David Grant seconded the motion, and all agreed. Jeff Taggart reported for the planning board. 3 boundary line adjustments were approved. A wedding venue was approved for Randall Lavitt on Post Road. A medical building was approved for Greg and Maria Kajowski on County Route 21. Mark Lang reported for the highway department. A motor from the truck purchased from the county sold for $4,145 at auction. The rented grader is here, and the excavator that they were hoping to rent on a trial basis to see if it was something they might want to purchase did not come to Franklin. The mining permit is at the DEC. Vouchers were submitted for audit and payment. With no further business to come before the board, Garrett Sitz moved for adjournment. Don Smith seconded the motion, and all agreed.
Any additions or corrections?
I move we accept them as read.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Since this is, we were discussing the Delta thing, I think we should possibly table it at this time because 2 of the board members are not available at this time. So I feel we should probably table that at this time. And we'll go to a few open questions. Yes.
About the road,
Road use
what they, yeah,
right.
Delta's part in it, in looking at our roads, how they approach, how trucks and that will approach the Bissell and the Otsego Mountain area. Will they be coming from 357 down?
The Constitution, I don't believe, has given anybody any ironclad routes for the trucks.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think they've given any. I asked today the county, I asked our attorney today too, how many towns have signed up in a road use agreement, and nobody knows of any that have. So there's from Pennsylvania up to Schoharie, from Pennsylvania to Schoharie, I don't know if there's any town that has signed a road use agreement of any sort. So it's just, Constitution has seemed to be dragging their feet.
So my follow-up question was,
Yep.
from 357 past the bridge, just past the bridge, is Village Franklin Road, so would we be included in this?
I'm not sure the village is on the Otsego side of the bridge, or is the village on this side of the bridge?
The village is just, I think, to the bridge, maybe,
To the
or just
bridge.
past it?
And the county, that's a county bridge.
Oh, so, but if they're trying to get to the mountain there
Right,
from
right,
357,
right.
if they go down Otsego, there's that little stretch is village, and we've got our water pipes under there.
Right,
So-
right. And that's, I guess the village should be doing something too, possibly.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's not, that's village water, village, and that's not
Village
covered
road, yeah.
by the town. I'm not sure, the road must be owned by the village too, maintained by the village, I would
Yeah,
say.
it's maintained by the village.
Okay.
Oh,
But the bridge is a county bridge,
okay.
is what that, and also I think Chamberlain Hill is a county bridge. That's a county bridge too. So the main bridges that they're gonna be using will be county bridges, which they've trying to implement, their road use agreement. And I talked to them today, and this Constitution seems to be really up in the air. Because yesterday I talked to John Faso, which is a representative of Constitution. He's just a figurehead, really. But he said he had heard that Delaware County and Schoharie County were very close to an agreement. So I said, oh, okay. And then I got told that they're not happy with our lawyer because she's asking for too much. Okay? And so I called the county this afternoon and talked to Wayne Reynolds, and he said he hasn't heard a thing back from Constitution. And so they were going to respond with what Constitution sent the county a road use agreement. The county looked it over, did some changes to it that the county liked, sent it to them, and they haven't heard a thing from them. So the county was going to send them another copy of the modified road use agreement, that the county would like to see. So it's, everybody's on the edge of their seat waiting for Constitution to respond to somebody. Is that my answer? Is that?
Well, no, yeah, I was just asking about the village roads and all that, how that works.
Village, the village is a whole separate, entity.
Okay.
And I'm sure the county has more bridge limits and stuff too, because they've got the large span bridges. Okay?
Thank you.
Yes, Don?
Okay, well, that's interesting, Jeff. If the Constitution doesn't want to come to the table, and it sounds like another good pass would be a road ordinance or road law or something else that Franklin can implement.
It's being looked into.
Yeah, I just adds
It is being looked into. The lawyer has mixed feelings on it right now, because she still feels a good road use agreement if they come to the table and sign it.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure that Davenport has a road use agreement signed. They do have a road use law. Okay, Sydney has a road use law, and they do not have a road use agreement signed. So without the road use agreement signed, I'm not sure how much power the law has.
I think it's the other way around.
The other way around.
Okay, then I would think they'd sign the road use agreement with the towns, or not? No? I don't know. That would probably be a question to the lawyer, but she's not here. She said, they're just dragging their feet and not going anywhere. Okay, all right, Don?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Odd that they're not.
Yes, Gene.
I-
I said Gene.
In the minutes, Connie said that part 3 of the Delta program was restoration of the roads,
Right.
and that the town would be reimbursed by the developer. What mechanism of enforcement is there to ensure that we don't get stuck paying for it, and that how do they know that? How does Delta know that the developer's going to pay for it?
Now, if you have a signed contract,
Yeah,
which is what a road use agreement would be, I believe, right?
yeah.
Does that make them responsible to agree to the signed contract?
Well, yes, I'm sure
Oh,
it does,
okay.
but they are a huge corporation with, they're a
Yeah.
billion-dollar corporation with billion-dollar corporation lawyers, and we're just little Franklin. And if they decide to cut us, say, well, we'll give you half, or we'll give you nothing,
Well,
what are we gonna do?
what I understand, we'll do probably the same thing, that if we had a law to that effect, because if we have a law, we have an agreement signed with them, because the law is the most strict part.
Right.
A road use agreement is probably less strict, is what
Right.
I've understood, am I
agree.
right?
Exactly.
But they're gonna sign this less strict road use agreement, am I right on that?
I don't know, I guess.
I mean, is that, because there's nothing, if the road use law doesn't do anything until you get the road use agreement signed.
No, the road use law would be a law about how
Okay.
people
Okay.
can use our roads and to protect our roads. And if they're coming on, if they're limited to 80,000 pounds and they're coming on with 120,000 pounds, we can call the state troopers and say these people are violating the law, don't let these trucks go through.
But can we stop the trucks
Yeah,
being a federal project?
no, but,
No. These people are not federal, these people are business people.
no.
Right, but it is a federal project that has been approved by the federal government, is what my question is. And I'm not the lawyer to say yes or no. It will be a question I'll ask our lawyer.
I just think it's important because we're gonna, I feel like we're gonna end up holding the bag and having to pay the expenses of a lawyer to sue them, possibly unsuccessfully, you know, to get them to pay for what they should not have done in the first place, you know.
Are these assumptions that
I
you're
think
stating?
this Road Delta program would be a step in the right direction for giving us more bargaining power. Because
Well, you
then,
know,
if we go with this, we would have an engineering study, an independent engineering study, which could be potentially taken to court.
right, right,
And if you're prepared to go to court, you're less likely to have to do it.
right.
Then, the second point, in part of the phase 2, is that they determine a threshold over which an agreement is required in terms of the axle weight business. That, having this study would give you a criterion for when you have to have.
Right. But at this
The
time,
law could say everything over this criterion requires a agreement. That way you'd have a defined, defensible reason for why you have to have an agreement.
okay. Well, I'm not saying we're against the agreement. I'm just saying,
I'm
and
not
this is being tabled right now because we
Right,
don't
I'm
have
not
a board.
saying one way or the
Tribal
other,
board.
just that
Right,
the engineering study
Right.
would potentially
and the
give us
county,
bargaining power
right,
and a defensible position.
right. Well, this is all in the works because we do have the county taking traffic counts on, I think there's 9 different roads in the town of Franklin
Fine,
this week.
that will help us with getting
And
a
that's
discount
what
on
it's
the
for, is
study.
to, right, that's what that is, the county's doing it, and the planning department's doing their paperwork to save us, you know, get us down to like $6,400 instead of 9. Yes,
The town of Otsego adopted a road use ordinance several years ago. And one of the key features that sold it to the town was the fact that they could set an escrow amount, that it specified a formula for calculating escrow. And that would directly address the point that Gene brought up. You don't want to be left in a position where you have to sue them to get the money that they owe you. If you've
Right.
got it in an escrow account already, then you have to sue you.
well, this is where I think Delta had that wording in too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we had the Delta Road use.
Right, do you have a law or just a road use?
Survey, and we did a law.
You did a
We did a
law?
law.
We use their model
and-
law.
We used the law put up by our town attorneys from Coughlin and Gerhart.
Oops, that's bad. Thank you. Okay, now to change the subject. We did make a road trip to Hancock on Saturday. Bert Moore, Daryl Drayton, Daryl's here from the planning board, Tony, Kaima, and, yes, Edmund. You know, went down to the Hancock compressor station. I'll let them talk if they'd like to or not to, or, I mean, I'm biased, so we'll keep me out of it.
Well, I wrote a little report
Oh, okay.
that was sent to all the members of our group, which is, you know, very neutral in how I phrased it. You know, we went there, we saw it looked sort of clean and new. Important detail I thought was that it was a very remote location and much further away from a town or city in comparison to what's planned here. Plus that a compressor station was not in operation.
Right.
But it was being maintenance work, biannual maintenance work, so that gave us another impression of what it means. the big difference being supposedly that the sound that it made this time was like 4 or 5 times louder than when it was in general operation. You know, you've been there when it was in.
What Bill and I heard was
Yeah.
nothing, and it was a lot louder. I said, boy, it wasn't, before we talked to the people, I said, this is a lot louder than it was.
Right, so they,
You know, and,
okay, we didn't hear
Right.
sound operation, but anyway, that's what we saw. And then finally, my impression was that the people that were working there were a little too simple and naive about the potential of emissions. They seem to be totally comfortable with, you know, how the system worked. We are more critical, of course, about it. But I thought we were, you know, treated in a very fair way, and they were cooperative. And we have a standing invitation to go there again
right.
at the moment, you know, when it's operational. So that's
Right.
in brief
They
how
probably,
I experienced.
I think they said they wouldn't let you in the compressor station, but they would open the door so you could hear the noise, is
Right.
what the guy said, I
Right.
thought.
I personally don't think that the noise is going to be an issue unless there's a blowdown. I mean, they're not stupid. They've reacted to people in the past with bad experiences, and they're going to make sure it's soundproofed. So,
Yeah.
I thank you for taking us too.
You're very welcome.
I think that another trip during the week might not be a bad idea at some point.
When it's in operation.
Right.
Yeah.
They said it'd probably be back up running today. Thought
I
they
don't
said
remember,
Monday or
yeah.
Tuesday or something.
Something like
Because
that.
it was gonna be shut down for a week.
Yeah, they were
Two
very,
extra
they were
days
very, they were cordial and accommodating.
They wanna have, well, if you wanna go down and catch it without being notified, you know, you can do that.
Mm.
Or they would set up a
Tour, yeah.
tour for you, if anybody wanted to go down.
What is the size of that compressor?
That is 16,000.
It's half the size of.
Half the size of
Yeah.
that.
I'd like to add that it was enjoyable to talk with the workers there, but they're not the powers that be. And the man who was in charge said some things that I didn't quite understand why this would be so. He said the air that comes out of the chimney is cleaner than the air that goes in.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. It sounds very naive to say a
Yeah,
thing like that in general.
That everything
Okay.
is burned at 1,000 degrees, so there'll be nothing.
Okay. Did you want to say anything, Daryl?
Yes. A lot of people think a lot of people are going to be employed there. That's not the case. Only 2 full-time workers, 5 days, place is unmanned for 2 days. If anything serious goes on, there's an alarm. I think in Texas they said they could pick up.
No, they're in West Virginia.
West
West
Virginia.
Virginia,
yeah.
excuse
I
me.
think they're West Virginia,
Right.
right, Tony?
Right.
And Tennessee is Houston or something down there.
And for some reason, there's no grass growing in certain areas up there. You have plenty of clover, but no grass, and it may be a concern for somebody to look into, to worry about the emissions.
Yeah. And the people who were working there were employees of the Columbia Pipeline or whatever. It was not local people who got a job through this activity. It's not my impression.
It's part of the millennium, isn't it?
Yeah. NICEAG employees work all over too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the people that we talked to when I went there said that they wanted their employees to live locally
Right.
so
And
that
then,
they would be on call quickly.
I think you said like 20 minutes away or 30 minutes
No,
away.
they were like an hour and 2 hours, but they came from further away.
Not the one, not the young man.
Lived 20 minutes away.
Right.
Yeah.
The young man was
And then the
closer.
bookkeeper or what, the finance guy,
Right.
he lived in
Further away, yeah.
somewhere in
Near
Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia.
Milford, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, near Philadelphia.
Was it? Yeah, he lives about 2 hours or so away. Yeah. Okay, so, because he said he had long days. He's on a salary, so he said. So, okay, that's about our trip. Another question?
Is the compressor free, people? Are you gonna submit, like, is there gonna be a report on your website?
The report that I'm referring to was not on the website, but was on our email group.
Will you
But I
share
can
it with
send you-
taxpayers?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, that'd be great. Thanks.
Where do you want to send it to?
Just, can you put it on your compressor-free site
Yeah, we could do that.
to share with the general public?
Or on Facebook.
Huh? Or Facebook,
Yeah,
yeah.
because all the sites on Facebook and the website.
Well, Jeff, I really appreciate you inviting us. I did invite other people
Mhm.
who were unable to come because they had to work.
Uh-huh.
And, but I think we should organize another caravan, called
Mhm.
Caravan to Go Back, with other board members, yourself, of course, and well as operational, and have another view there, or go to another one, down to Minnesink, it's a little further away.
Uh-huh.
They're having some big issues concerning emissions, and that's my primary concern. So
Well, I'm probably not gonna be available again, and I don't know about the board. We've all seen it.
Well,
You know, I'm sorry about, I mean,
I and
I
Garrett
appreciate it.
and David all went earlier when it was operation, and they gave us a full tour.
Okay, well, I was.
I appreciate the offer, but you know, if I'm free and are available, I will go, but, you know,
Yeah, sure.
yes.
I'm just sort of curious what it would be like with a 30,000 horsepower compressor, because there's a difference. And also in a place where people have already had emissions and have had studies made. I think you should go to Minisink. Really.
Well, I did go to Wellsboro where there was supposedly 30,000, but it wasn't, it was 216s.
Yeah,
And there's not a 30,000 in Minisink, is there?
I think so.
I think they're small. I think
small.
they're smaller even, yeah.
Someplace where they've had problems with emissions.
Mhm. Well, I thought they were all over with emissions, not just the Minisink.
About emissions. I just did one on Minisink.
Just asking. You feed us, we gotta feed you.
Are you talking to me?
Huh?
Are you talking to me?
Well, you said,
Oh, I thought.
no, you were saying that, you know, they've had problems with emissions. I said I thought all compressors had problems with
I
emissions.
do, but they've
So-
made studies of it and they've taken and they've had people come and
Yep.
had, you know, they've got records of it and things like that. Which I don't think this place has done.
Well, I think the newer units are better, I think. It's maybe not the cure, but I think they're better. I know they're better. There's no thinking about it. It's how much better. You know, that's, you know, and that's what we want to find out, is how much better they are. We're not saying they're all God. You know, there's issues out there, and, you know, we are looking. You know, the unfortunate part is, and I hate, you know, you said the other people had to work. There's not a whole lot of people that work 7 days a week. And the offer was made out there to go to Hancock. And thank you for 3 to show up. I appreciate that. But that shows me a lot of concern for the other 38 in the group, 30 in the group. You know, it bothers me that, you know, you can put the board, you know, under the tire. And the effort that the anti-compressor group puts out, it's easy to go on Facebook, it's easy to, you know, have your weekly meetings, but there was an offer to go see one. And 10% of you went. That's a tremendous turnout. And that's the last I'm saying about that. Thank you.
I've been to Windsor as
Good.
well as up to the, right.
Oh, up to right, yep,
No, it's,
yep. But I'm just saying, there's a bunch of others that have never been to one, and they didn't make the effort. And I'm sorry. I mean, that's just, I mean, that's my opinion. Can be wrong too. I think I've been wrong once. I might have been mistaken. So I like the chuckle. Thank you. You know, it is too serious. I mean, it's a serious thing, but you do have to laugh once in a while or smile. Frowns are bad. They just stay right there. But you know, I appreciate the concern. I do. But sometimes it's not as much concern as, you know, it's, geez, I had something else I want to do that morning instead of going for a compressor ride. So.
You're the supervisor of the town.
Yes, and I made the offer, and I've been there twice,
No.
and I've been to Woods.
I know, but you chose to be the supervisor. and it's
Yes,
a
I
very
did.
heavy duty, I'm sure.
It is
But
my
you should-
duty. My duty was to go see it. I went and saw it. My duty was, I guess, to lead some more people a second time. And I did that. But when you don't, when the group doesn't put the effort into it also, that's what my concern is. I'm sorry. I mean, you are adamant, this cause is great. I'm not, you're passionate about your cause. It's passion. But passion is not internet. Passion is sometimes seeing what you are looking at, talking about.
But that isn't like our compressor, that's why I didn't go down actually because I'm ill, but that's not the reason. It's because although it's small, it doesn't run very often, you can't hear anything.
What's that?
I've heard other people.
It doesn't run very often?
It doesn't, it turns off. I've had other people from other groups that have gone and it hasn't been on. And also, there are not so many people living near it.
I agree, the population.
It's smaller and it's.
I'm not sure how far the houses were across the road, Tony. Do you have any idea?
About
It's closer
500.
than Haney's house that will be to the proposed one, I'm sure of that.
Probably about 500 feet.
And there were houses across the driveway, two of
Yeah,
them.
two
There were
of them.
three, but I think one
Right.
lawn wasn't maintained or anything.
Right.
And I think it runs, at close to 100% most of the time, through the winter and stuff. And,
They said they shut it down twice a year for
maintenance.
And it's usually 4 or
Which
5 days.
I was surprised it takes
4 or
a
5 days of it.
week for maintenance. which
Yeah, well, they
surprised
said
me.
they also have to literally replace the jet engine that runs it every
6
couple of years.
Oh,
Right. 6 years?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
But,
They were quite
okay,
cooperative.
since there's issues with the board, I think we're gonna have a motion to, well, we're not,
You can't adjourn.
anyway,
Jeff, I'd like to say one thing.
Yes.
I understand your feelings and I would have liked other people to go, but it was short notice.
mhm.
You asked me Thursday morning.
Yep, it was 2 days' notice, yep, and I thought a weekend would be good, because a lot of people have weekends off.
Just to give a little bit of cushion to scolding.
Well, that, I was really disappointed. I was really expecting it, but I was disappointed. I was expecting it wouldn't be as good a turnout, but I was disappointed when it wasn't as good a turnout. Because there has been effort made, and I know most of the people do a lot of internet or off the internet and stuff. You do a lot of time and research on it, I understand that. But, this is, I think, quite important too, to have seen that. And I hope the next tour, if I'm available and I can go away from the farm, or away from Delhi or whatever, I'll try to make it. But I would, it's not gonna be high on my list. I'm not gonna stop doing something else to do this, because I've gone twice, but thank you.
Yeah, and I think many of us will probably at some point will go and have a tour,
Well,
The fact that they weren't there.
so you've got the phone number, right?
That's right.
Yeah, there or another compressor, but the fact that they didn't show up on Saturday doesn't mean you're not going to go and have a
I
look at
agree.
them later on.
I
you know,
agree.
it's-
I agree.
I don't know where so
It's
few
just,
people came, but.
Well, Jason was one of them. He come up to the table and said, thank you, for offering to go, and, he wasn't there either. I mean,
There, but so maybe you'll go
whatever.
to-
That's what I'm disappointed in, is that, you want, and then all of a sudden when it's offered, you can't go. And it does happen, I know. There had to be some family issues and stuff. But a lot of it was, geez, this is Saturday morning, I want to sleep in, and this morning, maybe there's something else going on. But, that was my offer, I did it, and thank God the people took me up on it, and we'll go from there. Thank you. Okay, this is the last one.